I have two new ones.
Hey, you're ready?
Ready? All
Yep,
right.
ready.
Welcome to the September 11, 2025 meeting of the Health and Environment Committee. My name is Rupal Picard and I am the chair of the committee. Today marks 24 years since the attack on September 11. We remember all the lives lost, including the brave first responders. So let's observe a moment of silence in their honor. Tonight, we are joined by Assistant District Manager Brendan Berth. This meeting is called to order at 6:32 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise your questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any questions that you have by raising your hand. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. We need a volunteer to take minutes tonight. So if you're able to take minutes, please let us know. Brock, thank you. All right, Barack will be taking minutes for today's meeting. We will now take attendance by roll call. Brendan will conduct the roll call.
Many members, I will call your name. Your name is called, please say present. I'll announce if there is quorum. Marty Barrett.
Present.
Elvie Barroso.
Present.
Liz Burr. I don't see. Brock Friedman.
Present.
Gloria Haig.
Present.
Rupal Kakad.
Present.
Kevin O'Keefe.
Present.
Thank you. Mubin Siddiqui.
Present.
Okay.
Oh.
Ah, hi. Perfect timing. Kat Valero.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Committee, the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and is reflected on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from June 12th meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the meeting minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the minutes, please raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the June 12th meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CP6 website. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Committee members unable to attend in person, if you have a question about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you so you can speak. All committee members, it is extremely important that only one person speak at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. The chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. All right, so tonight's agenda. We're going to start off with a presentation by Dorot on their work to support older adults in the community. So give me 1 second. Sorry. You're feeding and sorry, no, I have. There we go. So for Dora, it is Kay Mollica. Did I pronounce that right?
Nailed it.
All right, is the outreach specialist at Dora, where she invites volunteers, older adults, facilitators, and professionals into the Dora community. Kay has been in the nonprofit field for over a decade and is currently pursuing master's degree part-time at CUNY School of Professional Studies. So we'll hand it over to Kay.
Thank you so much. I'm going to get my bearings here and start sharing my screen. Okay. I know it's a bit of a pain to have the black bar. So actually, does anyone know how to make this go away? Maybe something here. Hide floating meeting controls. I figured it out. Okay, great. Can you see and hear me?
Yep.
Excellent. Let me scooch this. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Welcome. We are going to review today who we are as a DeRote community and why we go about striving towards our mission, which is social connection. We're going to go into more detail about what programs DeRote has to offer. And what's particular about this presentation is I'm going to review how constituents through Community Board 6 have already been involved with us from this past year. But I'll double back just for a second. Yes, my name is Kay Mollica. My pronouns are she, her. I am the outreach specialist with DeRote. So exactly as you just heard, my position is to really just invite folks to join us and tell people about us if they don't know who we are. Some of you in the space might already know about DeRote, so I hope to color in some lines. And for those of you who have never heard of us, I would love to give you a general overview and share the exciting information really that folks in your communities are already using our services. Okay, so agenda for today. What is DeRote? We'll review that. We focus on social connection. So why? Why is that important? Our full range of programs. And I'll start with more about DeRote. So who are we? DeRote is a nonprofit whose mission is to bring about social connections among older adults and provide services to help that population live independently and as valued members of the community. We do serve the Jewish and wider community, bringing the generations together in a mutually beneficial partnership of older adults, volunteers, and professionals. So DeRote actually means generations in Hebrew. I get asked pretty often, what does DeRote stand for? It's not an acronym, it's this Hebrew word. We were founded in 1976, so we're going to hit our 50-year anniversary next year, by a group of Columbia University grad students who enjoyed these mutual relationships and understanding with their older adult neighbors, and we've sort of snowballed from there. Our headquarter office, that's pictured here to the left of my screen, is at West 85th Street on the Upper West Side. We also have a very small branch in Westchester County, and that's in White Plains, and that branch actually services the entirety of Westchester County. Let me go back for a second. So I also want to review our idea of social connections, right? So why is that important? Why is that important for folks over 60? So I'm excited to talk with this group about that idea in particular because you all focus on health and wellness and environmental safety. And I think socialization and connections, networks, community, friendships are very much inextricably tied with those health and safety ideas. It's more than just a desire for social connections. It's a built-in human need. We know that people connecting with each other is just as important as food and shelter. There's been research that shows that building relationships, even of a casual variety, has incredible outcomes, better physical, cognitive, emotional health. This is very particularly as we age. I'm happy to share too. that all of the programs that I mentioned that support this mission of socialization that we do through all sorts of means, which I will go to momentarily, are completely free. These are all no cost. So I'm happy to underline that sort of 3 times before I proceed. So first and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and give you a larger picture of who engages with our programs. So this is all pulled from FY24 data. We reported that 7,750 older adults, and by that we mean people over 60, engaged with us in one way or another 98,000-ish times. These folks engaged via Zoom, just like we are right now, in their homes and on site at the DeRote office's program space. As you can see by the pie chart here, about 80% of folks do participate with us virtually, which is very interesting as we know that we started most of our virtual programs during the height of COVID in 2020. And the silver lining to all of that one is this idea that folks can join us from wherever, and we can see that in our data today. I'm also going to talk about volunteering a little bit. So we would not be able to support all these services that I'll go into without our volunteer community. So by volunteer, anyone can volunteer who's 18 plus. About 6,400 volunteers gave us about 50,000 hours of their time in FY24. It's also important to note that people over 60 can also volunteer with us, right? So that's a general overview of a couple of numbers. But in the meantime, let's go into some programs. We do connect with programs at home. So by at home, we mean older adults who live between 59th to 125th on the west and 14th to 96th on the east. So that means that all older adults in this Community Board 6 area do have that overlap with our east side catchment area, as you can see by these slides. Okay, the exciting part, some of our programs. So I wanted to start with a signature program of ours that your district already participates in. It's called Friendly Visiting. This is Adam and Sharon, a match that meets weekly. In this program, older adults build friendships in their home, with a volunteer visitor on either a monthly or weekly basis. DeRote asks interested volunteers, or really older adults as well, to agree to a minimum of a 1-year commitment to this match, but many of our friendly visiting matches actually span multiple years. On visits, these folks bridge the generational gap and they bond over life experiences, hobbies, experiences, passions, ideas, memories. Again, many of our volunteers are older adults themselves, so it's not unusual to see an 80-year-old maybe being matched with a 60-year-old. That's totally fine. As long as we're bridging a generational gap, we're achieving our mission. In Community Board 6, we have 20 older adults matched, and here is a zip code breakdown of what that looks like. I know your colleagues have copies of these slides, so we can definitely share them out if that's your protocol. Okay, here's how else we support older adults in home. This is also coincidentally a wonderful way to get your feet wet with DeRote. It is a one-time opportunity called package delivery. So, as you can see from this photo, in package delivery, older adults receive this nice purple DeRote branded bag of treats, goodies, handwritten cards, non-perishable goods from a friendly volunteer visitor. And this is just a one-time thing. That volunteer will come to our office, get an address, get a bag, go to that address with that older adult's name on it, hand them that bag, and enjoy an hour of a friendly visit. Or sometimes they'll do a friendly phone call later in the day. That is a very popular option when it gets to cold and flu season, just to keep everybody safe. We do this event 5 times a year, and the next one's actually coming up this very weekend on Sunday, the 14th. We'll have this in honor of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. From your district, 65 older adults received a package 181 times. So the reason for that number might be older adults could get these packages all 5 times a year, but some only get it once or twice. It's really whatever they want to sign up for. Maybe an older adult says, ooh, I really like this program, but I'm away for one of the deliveries. So that means they would only get 4 of them a year, just to give you some context on that number. Okay, great. Let's talk about a lovely program called Response Team. Response Team is request-based volunteer connections. I feel like the more important way to categorize this is it's kind of like a classified section in a newspaper. Folks write into us and get connected with the response team staff for their particular requests. That includes playing cards. We have our birthday visit program housed in response team. Some people call us and say, I love walking in the neighborhood, but I don't really have anyone to walk with. We will send you a volunteer to do that. We have folks who come over and help read the mail. That's popular for folks who might be blind or low vision, and much more. It really could be anything. So the other day, I saw a request internally that an older adult wanted a volunteer to come over, look at the Lululemon website, the athletic clothes for those of you uninitiated, and then go to the store and like try a couple things on and just like have someone tell them what they like and what they don't like. It could be anything, and that response was able to be fulfilled, right? So in Community Board 6, we had 18 older adults connect for 34 different visits. So again, this could be one time, or maybe someone will come 3 times in a month to go for those walks. It really, so I keep saying it depends, but as you can see, response team is a bit fluid in what we respond to. Tech coaching, this is another kind of practical way to get support through that vehicle of social connection. This is available on site at DeRote and in the homes of older adults. In this program, volunteers work with older adults to support tech skills, sending emails using Zoom, using an iPhone and Android. Our offices host regular tech clinics here at the DeRote office, where DeRote's older adults are set up with volunteers, including we have a teenager version of this in the summer because teens are very good with technology. And we have folks sit together at different tables and review any tech questions that the older adults might have. It's a really wonderful opportunity to have personalized support that empowers an older adult to learn tech from a knowledgeable volunteer. So this also happens in home in the photo to my left. We will send a volunteer directly to the home of the older adult and have 6 to 8 week sessions, depending on what they would like to learn tech-wise. So that's really what separates this program from others in the city, which we really love. Like the local library might have a tech coaching with an older adult or even other nonprofits, and those are all great. But I think what separates ours is that we do actually go to the home of those older adults to work on their tech in their house. 22 older adults in your district participated in 147 tech coaching sessions last year. Okay, a quick note here that in order for folks to get volunteers to go to their homes in all those programs I just described, we do have an imperative step called a home visit, and that is conducted by one of our DeRote social workers. So we even have a job title here at DeRote, Home Assessment Social Worker, where we hire incredible social workers to go to the homes of the older adults who would prefer these in-home services and do an intake, a biopsychosocial intake. They can certainly speak to it as trained professionals in the world of social work. And really, it's an opportunity for the older adult and DeRote to build that relationship, find out what this particular person wants or needs from us, even if that means referring them somewhere else or in addition to us. We really love to get a holistic perspective of the folks that we are supporting through our volunteer means. And it's also just a bit practical, right? So we need someone to take a bit of an intake of, well, if Sally has 5 cats, we don't want to pair Sally with Jimmy, who's allergic to cats and is a volunteer. So we need to know all that information before we make our matches. So it's really imperative that we get a full picture, kind of big and small. Okay, great. So we also offer lifetime learning opportunities with DeRote. Those are available on site, and you don't need that home assessment to do these, right? So classes are offered on site. Once again, that's 171 West 85th on the west side. And we have plenty of great classes over Zoom as well. These classes, we have talks, workshops, they're designed to create social connections, right? Among peers, encourage health and wellness, and provide opportunities for dynamic learning and enrichment. We offer 30 unique opportunities every single week. lectures, workshops, visual and performing arts, exercise classes. We have very popular concert series at DeRote. We have a beautiful grand piano in our auditorium, and we do live stream those as well. So on occasion, there'll be a class that is also live streamed. So something like a concert is fairly easy to live stream, right? So folks can come in from all over to hear some beautiful music. These are all free. You just have to go to DeRoteUSA.org, our website, click on calendar, click on a couple things just to make sure you're registered, and then you're good to go. And then finally, we do have 2 exclusively telephone-based programs. Sometimes I talk to older adults and they say, I don't want to use Zoom. I'm a little zoomed out. I get it. We've had these programs for a while. So University Without Walls is the first. And University Without Walls is a series of classes over the phone. These classes happen year-round via teleconference. That's everything from support groups to Jewish interests. We have current events groups, art and theater classes, health and wellness. 14 older adults from your district have connected 197 times in this past year. Caring Calls. It's another program offered to older adults that can be accessed from anywhere. And this program matches older adults and volunteers to get to know each other and connect through weekly social phone calls. So that's 8-week sessions with one 20 to 30-minute call expected per week. Many matches stay well together past the 8-week window, of course. And the same number, 14 older adults connected with volunteers, a way bigger number, 336 times. So there's 52 weeks in a year. Sometimes I'll see, internally from my end, an older adult connected with a volunteer 52 times in a year. They will not skip a week. They enjoy talking with one another. One match in particular, just to give you an example, the volunteer lives in Denver, but the older adult lives in New York City. And we're able to make that match because of the power of the telephone. And they talk on Sunday mornings, and they've been talking on Sunday mornings for the last 5 years. So pretty incredible. But this is also just a great opportunity if you're particularly busy, if you have 8 weeks, 30 minutes to spare, you can even take it walking around. We really recommend it. I think it's a really fun way to volunteer. Okay, great. So in any case, I'm going to go ahead and wrap you all up in terms of what you all have seen and done this past year. 467 individuals participated in a program at DeRote from Community Board 6 in this last fiscal year. A fairly even split. 234 were older adults, 239 were volunteers. I broke down all the zip codes from your district. As you can see, it's for the most part pretty well distributed. But by all means, take this information and run with it. I'd love to hear your takes on this, some interpretations, just letting you know that this is available to your folks. I'm going to take questions, but I also want to make sure you see this slide, which is how to reach out sort of generally, and I'll make sure you have my contact information as well. Great, so I'll stop sharing my screen, and I would love to see if anyone has questions or would like to talk further. And thank you so much.
Questions?
Yeah. All right. Hi, my name is Mabeen. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I have a couple of questions. The first one is, does DeRote have any overlap or coordination or partnership with City Meals on Wheels, which provides very similar programming as well?
Yeah, thanks for the question. We do not work directly with City Meals on Wheels. We refer out to them often. We actually do have a program called Kosher Meals at Home, which is what it sounds like. We have, we only serve a very small area, 50s to 100s, and we have a limited window of frozen kosher meals for folks who maybe had a surgery and will need meals for the next 3 weeks. That might be a good sort of case study in who benefits most from this program. And of course, if they keep kosher. So on occasion, we've had people say, I really like this program and I want to work with you all, but I'm not kosher. Like I want to make sure someone who keeps kosher has more access to this. So we'll say that's very conscientious of you, and we would refer them out, and we'd work with City Meals on Wheels to get them elsewhere, whatever appropriate sort of looks like in that oeuvre. But yes, they're a great partner of ours in sort of a different capacity.
And just the second part of my question was, I thought I heard you, but I just want to clarify. So anyone, any senior can apply to this program, or is it exclusively for our Jewish neighbors?
Anyone can apply for this program. We certainly support everyone. Our staff, our volunteers, our interns, older adults certainly come from all walks of life. But that being said, we're a proudly Jewish organization, and we celebrate Jewish holidays, and Jewish roots are certainly in our culture. So yeah, we certainly hold both things. We'd welcome everyone.
All right, thank you so much.
Pat, you had a question?
Yeah. Hi, Kay. Thank you for your presentation and going through all of the programs that you offer and the breakdown of how you've impacted our neighbors and community members. So I appreciate that. One of the bridge or delegate points that I would love to hear how you guys are facilitating this. You might mention that you have social workers, whether they work at DeRote or you partner with them. I'm curious if there's a link between those social workers and the hospitals that are in our area or other medical or health facilities or centers that we know that there's probably an overlay or overlap of folks that use your social services and programs, but need additional support. So I'm wondering if there's any like overlap, if they need further assistance or if they refer out to DeRote if they need social gathering or connection.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
great question. We certainly do have the hospitals around the area in our orbit and in our community. So we can do things like you were mentioning, make referrals based on what certain individuals need, and vice versa. So when sometimes I give presentations to other social workers and I'll say to them, if you have clients who are like, I think they're doing pretty well, but they just need like more friends, like they just need more folks, refer us to DeRote. We can send someone to them to build that connection. We can link them to a teleconference, right? Um, as far as sort of working with hospitals on a more teased out, more detail oriented level, I'll give you the line that my supervisor says, which is we do case management light. So we are certainly not taking on someone's sort of full medical care and load in that capacity because that's not what we're built for. But we will have between 1 and 8 phone calls where we're really referring out and trying to get folks the help they need. But we certainly are not sort of dispensing medical advice. We certainly do a lot of referral and information sharing, and I think we're quite good at that. We actually have a department that focuses on that exclusively.
Great, thank you so much.
Just to quickly interrupt, we're dealing with some Zoom technical difficulties right now. So, I may actually have to close the Zoom on the TV momentarily, but I have Zoom on my work laptop, so has like a bit of a stopgap, so. Just hold on.
Yeah, sure. If you need me to sort of jump off and come back on, just let me know. In fact, let me open my email just in case you need to talk to me through that.
Yeah,
No worries. It happens.
we're. Yeah, troubleshooting a little bit. You can keep on going, by the way. I have Zoom still going, but on my work laptop, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'd love to hear from you folks. Any questions? Maybe has anyone heard of DeRote before?
Yeah, just one last question. You mentioned the one-time delivery with the purple bags 5 times a year.
Yes.
Is that service also free or is that service for an additional cost? Because when I look through your website, I know there are some services that cost additionally.
Sorry about that. Now we have things going again.
I heard most of the question. Package delivery is of no cost for both volunteer and older adult. There was a point at the end that I missed that you saw something on our website that was a cost. Oh, I'm sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think if I remember correctly, like the extra kosher meals that you mentioned, obviously they come with an extra additional cost. So I just wanted to know if that one-time delivery 5 times a year with that purple bag that you mentioned, is that like part of the extra fee or is that 5 times a year free for people who sign up through DeRote?
Kosher Meals at Home is also free.
Oh, okay, never mind.
All of our programs are all free.
Okay.
Yeah, package delivery is 5 times a year. They do have to be home assessed to get package delivery.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes older adults, they can be more hesitant to be like, well, I just want someone to knock on my door and leave the package. You have to assess me. And we say, yes, we do. But it's great that we assess you because now we get to know you more and expand your world potentially a little bit. As far as the volunteer side of it goes, you don't need a background check or anything. We just ask that you bring official ID and sign like a sign up form that we get some basic information from you. Oh boy. Hi, there's an automatic light in this room, which looks like I just disappeared. We're back. That's so funny.
I'm wondering, this is a great program. I love what you're doing. Really wonderful. I'm really interested in your capacity.
Mhm.
Of how many people that you can serve, and if we actually got the word out more, how many more people you might potentially be able to serve. So I'm interested in 1 year, say 2024, how many individual people that you were able to serve in your program?
Yeah, that was on one of the slides. I'm going to pull it
Mm.
up. Also, I'm realizing I'm running out of battery and my charger is elsewhere. So if I lose you, I'm very sorry in advance, but that's the context. Let me grab that. I'm glad you think our programs are great. I can confirm they're really great. People have nice things to say about them. They're very nice to work for. Happy to be here today. Okay, I'm going to share with you older adults. Okay, we
A lot
had
more people could use them. That's why I'm wondering your capacity and ability to scale if you need to.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so we have supported 7,750-ish older adults. Um, when you say capacity, we really do focus only on 59th to 125th on the west and 14th to 96th on the east for in-home capacity. So
Mhm.
we're constantly recruiting volunteers. So I often go to college campuses and say, do you want to work with older adults in a volunteer capacity? That's one, runway or outlet. As far as older adults, we know that we do our work very well because of that truncated catchment area. So sometimes I'll have folks from Brooklyn say, I really love DeRote. I love coming to DeRote. Can't you guys come to my house? We say, we just want to do what we do really well. And we will refer them out to folks who do things like friendly visiting in their area. But I think what helps us achieve that mission, to your point, is the specificity. That being said, we do want to expand. That's why I'm talking to you today, right? That's why I was hired as outreach specialist. We want to increase our reach. I can give you one example that we need more weekly volunteer friendly visiting volunteers. We have a lot of monthly, we don't have many weekly at the moment. So we're working on that. We're trying to get that match met up to that need.
Yeah. Hi, Kay, just one other follow-up question. The Westchester facility, you said
Yeah.
you have a place in White Plains. Does it replicate every single service that you're providing in Manhattan, or is it more restricted? And do you have in-home services there?
Yeah, we do have in-home services there. The great part about Westchester is we do serve the entire county, and all the programs you just heard about in-home, we do those. I would say the biggest difference with Westchester is that they don't really have like a program space, so they use community spaces. So they have an intergenerational chess program, and they actually use a local library and a local school to do those programs. Whereas DeRote is not so much on wheels. We pretty much stay in our particular places unless we're going to the person's home. But in that case, the volunteer's doing that, right? They're just under the guidance and support of DeRote.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
No, hey, thanks for great presentation. My daughter did DeRote when she was a teenager,
No kidding.
and she went into the elderly person's home and read their mail. And then the elderly person made her watch like old timey shows, like
That's
way,
so cool.
way beyond, like way before my time even. But she loved it, and just to make the point, I think the volunteers, especially teenagers, get a lot out of it
Yeah,
too.
that's
So,
wonderful.
I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Anything else? All right, so thank you so much, Kay, for the
Yeah.
presentation. This was really great. I think we can include something information about this in our next weekly news blast or monthly newsletter.
Oh, great. Let me know what you need. Happy to send over whatever.
CB6. But yeah, I think, this was really great. Yeah, thank you for sharing your slides and everything, so.
You got it. Folks, if you have referrals, if any constituents call and say, I need this, that, or the other, you can email me directly and I'll just forward that over to our intake folks. So you're talking to the right person to get your information where it needs to go.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. You all have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so next, the budget requests.
Yes.
Well, she was great.
Yeah.
Such a-
Yeah.
So these are specific, well, there we go. Also going to zoom in a little bit because I know the print is small. Actually, this one. That's not doing it. Let me stop my share for a moment, actually. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit, because the print is a little bit small. Okay, now I should be able to share. And well, that's a little bit better. Okay, anyway.
All right, so let's start with the intergenerational that's at the top. All right, so, this request has, been on for quite some time, right, Brandon, if I'm not mistaken, right?
years.
10 years, yeah. So nothing's happened. So at this point, like, we either need to figure out another way of going about it, or we need to like just say, let's take it off. Let's discuss what or how we're gonna approach it to maybe get better results. Because if it's been on there for 10 years and nothing's happened, I feel like just continuing on with the same thing.
So that
It's,
we've asked for it, or
um,
like we recommended that we have this?
so this has been on for 10 years, so I'm not.
I was the first one to put that in there, but all these years, it's because of the difficulty in finding a location and then the budget to put together. So it has not been.
The only reason I ask is I know there are a lot of seniors in my building say they go to a community center in the district. So I will ask them where that is, because I know a bunch of them, maybe they're also recipients of Door Road, I don't know. But I know they certainly go to a community center because they've mentioned it we have like a public space in our building, and when we've been sitting around, they go and play, card games and things like that at some community center nearby.
Isn't there one on like 23rd Street or something like that?
Yes, Stein. Yeah, there's a Stein Older Adult Center.
Yeah.
It's the Stein Senior Center, and there's one on 52nd Street, the St. Peter's
Yeah.
Senior
Okay.
Center.
But when we say intergenerational, I just want to be very clear what we're talking about. And the other question I had, since this is a decade-long endeavor, was this inspired by either presentation, community members coming to the board?
I asked for it 30 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm sure you're not the only one
Yeah,
that would want it. but I
Because
appreciate
Stein
that.
Center was in the lower part of our community, I wanted something for me when I got older. Now
Within
that I'm
walking
older, in the northern part of the district. While at St. Peter's, they have a small program that's run by Lenox Hill. I wanted something on the books that an agency can see that we wanted something, and they could then say, yes, we would like to do that, and join this with some city money. We haven't been successful as of yet, but that doesn't mean in the future we won't. There are things on our budget requests that go for 20 years, 30 years before they're funded.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like for instance, the 54th Street Recreation Center, whatever it's called now. Once upon a time, we had a budget request for the whole thing to be fixed. And, at the Budget and Legislative Committee, I forgot what it's called now, but I shared it at one time too. We used to get a guy from the city, budget office. David Sugar, he lived in our community, but he would come and he would give us a rundown on how to best get things done. How to word things so that it, A, would reflect our community, and B, be within a dollar range or so that made sense. Like the recreation center, the way we were talking about it, would have been maybe a $50 million change. So the suggestion was to break it down into different pieces. So we had asked for the roof to be done, we asked for the elevator to be done, we asked for the pool to be done, the different pieces, and ultimately they were all done.
That's so amazing.
It took
Okay.
20 some odd years.
All right. Question for you. So 2 questions. When you refer to the center on 54th Street, is that one run by the Parks Commission?
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen that one. And similarly, you know, libraries also, the New York Public Library also has a lot of senior programming, and the Y also has a senior programming. So talking to Rupal's point, is there a way to maybe reconfigure this request so we can strengthen those programs so that they can offer everything that we want in the northern part of the district?
I think Brandon has something.
Yeah, I actually wanted to circle back to Kat's question, which was earlier in this request's life. The request was for a new senior center.
Right.
And in the last couple of years, the request has evolved to it being for a new intergenerational community center, which aren't quite the same things, like both have similar intents, I think, which is, you know, connections and like trying to address loneliness, but they aren't, at least as far as I can tell, not the same thing. So like with something like this, it's important that we're on the same page in terms of what we're advocating for. Because the clearer the more we're on the same page about that, I think the stronger this request would be.
Yeah, actually, originally I requested for a health center. Because we only have one health center that was at 9th Avenue and between 9th Avenue and 28th Street.
Okay.
And it's a health center that is supported by the Department of Health, but that was closed. So we didn't have any health center within our district.
Okay.
So originally I requested for that one, but it was not, nobody paid attention to that one because it was really, it entails a lot of that. We need we need to connect with the Department of Health, we need to do this and do that, so. Then it was changed to, why don't we request for just a senior center? And all these years, now it became the intergenerational community center, because they said that it should benefit not just the senior, but we should include also the young generation that can, you know.
But maybe
more.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's really good context of seeing how the transformation, how we got here, both from both of you and your context too. Is it, since you're asking, what should we do next? I love what you brought up of like the taking it in pieces approach. And I'm wondering if it does include, to your point, other agencies or other folks that are gonna be a piece of the pot, so to speak, in terms of funding or support. Is that, I'm new, so I don't know if that's something we can like reconfigure into this kind of proposal, or?
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I think what you said of like, if we wanna do this, breaking it into little pieces, I think might have better shot, right? Because right now, the way I read it, it's just like a whole new center, and like LB said, where is it gonna go? That's the biggest question, right? Location is gonna be the biggest question, so is there like, and then to go to your point is like, are there other programs that we can kind of, let's say, ask to expand instead of trying to find a new location?
Yeah, so I love the idea of finding something that will get done in 30 years after I'm dead. But, I just want to highlight what you said about libraries, and we have this library on 31st and 3rd. I don't really even know what they offer, to be honest with you. I don't know if anybody does, but that seems like something we can build on. So I just wanted to highlight your point that you made.
Thank you. I can't remember, was it this committee or the Parks Committee? Somebody came and made a presentation, but I'm not sure it was the 31st one or the one in the 20s, but they said there's a lot of senior programming. And they invited people to come saying that we don't know about this programming, so not enough people show up. So they had all kinds of things. Also, some intergenerational component too. I don't know if you remember, was it in the Parks Committee that they came and made a presentation that we have all these services? I think it was one of the libraries in the 20s. Yeah, right? We were talking about, we were amazed at what wonderful programming. I feel if a lot of money is infused there, this might be a reality for all of us,
Mhm.
maybe in the next 5 years.
Instead of
If
30
we-
years after we're all dead. Yeah. So how do we want to then change that request? Or do we want to kind of for this year, because we have to decide on this by the end of this meeting, because then it goes to the Budget and Government Affairs meeting, and this is it, like that's it for this year. So then do we want to say, let's put this under for now, low priority, and then we continue to discuss this for next fiscal year and then resubmit with like,
Bells and whistles.
yeah, like adjust it, figure it out, edit it, and then submit it for next year's budget request.
Also understand that the funding often comes from the city council person,
Mhm.
and we're getting different city council persons
Yeah,
So maybe we do.
in the area.
yeah, so,
So this might just be the kind of thing that the new city council person says, you know, I wanna do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
And it gets done.
And support.
yeah, so
So
I
why don't you
think,
just leave it for now, and then over the course of this next year, we'll
Yeah.
parse it to see if we wanna set up this kind of a thing and that kind of, you know.
yeah,
In
so
different
I
places.
say,
Okay.
yeah, so I say we can just move it to, for this year, because I was talking to Steve, who's the chair of the budget committee. And he was like, for this year, if you don't wanna fully take it off, or you still need more time to work on it, just move it to low priority for now. And then next year, as the time goes on, work on it, and then next year you can just resubmit it with a higher priority. So that was something he suggested. Oh, Kevin has a hand up, sorry.
Yeah, I don't, Brendan, I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but with Spark, wasn't it discussed that there would be a community center and potentially this would check that box? I know also looking for a CB6 office space. Do you know what part of the discussions? Actually, Rupal, you probably know as well. What space might be there for that?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I do know that we did ask for like a community space. I just don't know where the
Yes.
talks are at this point. Yeah. But I know we definitely asked for it, and if I remember correctly, I think they did approve it, or they are gonna try to incorporate it in their design.
That was my understanding. And the question
Yeah.
is how much square footage and what could that be sliced into for different
Yeah.
community?
So that's definitely something we can look into, because I don't remember, I haven't looked into that.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
definitely something I think we should look into, so that way for next year, we have all of these pieces together, so then when we resubmit, it's stronger.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's leave it for that, and then, so that's.
I don't think you should change whatever the priority
Okay,
on it is, don't change it.
don't change it?
Because
Okay,
that, you know, the lower down on the list things get,
okay,
the less possibility
Ah.
of get funded.
Yeah.
okay. All right, so then
That's
let's,
why
all
it's been
But-
there, even though it's 10 years.
right, so then let's leave it as is then.
Yeah, but I think it's a nice tag to, you know, the
Yeah.
incoming council member to know
Yeah.
that this might be something can be negotiated with Spark.
Agreed,
It'd be,
yeah,
not as much money needs to be allocated and discretionary
Yeah.
for this.
exactly, yeah, if there's already a Spark space, then at least the amount of investment, financial investment might be lower for the city. Yeah, So then, to Marty's point, let's leave it as is for this year, and then as the year goes on, we'll kind of revisit it, and talk about it.
Do we need
Make-
to add that comment about Spark in there, just so that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Brendan, do you think we should add that comment about Spark for now, or just leave it as is, and then as we?
Yeah, I would leave it as is, just because with these budget requests, the city is not asking us to identify specific spaces or specific
Okay.
places
Yeah.
to have some of these things, but just like we want X,
All
we
right.
want
So-
Y.
For example, when, I'm saying when, because I'm very hopeful, when it gets to a space where there is conversation about location, that's when we can bring up some potential details that we might
Okay,
Yeah.
want, like North
Yeah, I think
North
so.
District.
all
I
right,
think so.
Just for context. I
all
think.
right. So do we need to vote on this? Or no?
If the
Nobody has
committee just
objection.
wants to keep the request.
All right, so then we'll keep it as is. All right, what's the second one on there?
Lead service lines.
Lead service lines. Okay, so this is the new one I added after we talked about this, right, Marty? You helped me with this, so thank you again. Yeah, so we passed a resolution in this committee, and then it passed full board in April. Lead service pipelines have to be replaced by law by, I want to say 2037 anyway. And the resolution kind of details a lot of, where the money is gonna come from. There's federal money already allocated. The city council just needs to like create a fund and then tap into those federal resources. So this is just asking city council to kind of just do that. Yeah,
Yeah. Now, the one thing I will say is currently there isn't a blurb here,
I
but,
actually did submit it, but you know what? Let me send it to you right now, because,
oh, actually, wait a second, for whatever reason, there are duplicates.
okay.
So,
We probably have to-
okay, well.
Do you
that-
need me to send it, or you have
No, I have it right here.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how we ended up with,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
There we go.
here we go. Here. So this is
Great.
the.
Yeah.
I move to accept it as a budget priority.
Me too.
Any objections? All right.
Only update CD six to CB. six.
Oh, sorry, that's the
But that's
typo then.
okay.
Yeah.
Where is
Community District
The
6?
fourth line.
fourth line?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, see, yeah. I was thinking district.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just.
Are you an editor?
I'm hybrid, I'm
That's
hybrid.
wonderful.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
So changing CDs to.
I could be. a
CB,
copy
as in
editor.
so Community Board 6, yeah.
No, but thank you for putting this together. both of you.
So if we're accepting this, then moving on, like anything else, what do we need to do to like submit it or make sure the budget committee gets it?
Nothing else,
That's it?
honestly.
Now it'll go to them?
Yeah, I'll give it a number.
Okay.
Yeah. what
One
is the
other-
rate?
The other thing that has been done, which is helpful, is, and I guess I should have highlighted this with the intergenerational community center item as well. Indicating what you all see as like what level of impact, what level of community support, and what level of feasibility.
Feel like community support might be high, given lead is.
When this is,
Yeah, I think
this is what.
Yeah.
I
Move
mean,
it
this
to
is
high.
like hazard.
I filled it out, I think I made that mistake, I wanted to move it to high.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
granted, like, it's a bit of a judgment call, it's a little bit
Yeah.
subjective, but it's still.
Yeah.
Like, filling this in still gives the Budget and Governmental
Yeah.
Affairs Committee, who
And
ranks these requests, an idea of how much to
Yeah.
prioritize.
And also, I would say impact is also high. I mean, the long-term effect of treating somebody with lead poisoning versus just getting rid of it now, it's per individual level, it's ridiculous. It's so much more expensive to deal with that in the long
Absolutely.
run. So, yeah. All right, what's the third one down there? All
So
right,
this
so
is-
the upgrade to Bellevue, I submitted that one too.
Yeah, it's-
Okay,
it's-
the blurb is there, right?
Yeah, the blurb is here.
Okay, awesome. So, Karen Moore from Bellevue Cab is here, just in case if we have any questions or something. But basically, the AV system in their, old, medical library space in building C and D, needs upgrades. It's where they host like legislative breakfast, where they have, city council or elected members coming in to give them talks, presentations. They also do talks and presentation for patients, education sessions for patients and their family members, and, you know, just community. So I feel like it is important, especially given all the cuts and the Beth Israel closing and all of these things coming down. I think the more we can do to just kind of not just help Bellevue, but if that can help enlarge just the population being more educated, I think it's worth the investment. So,
Regularly over the years, we've endorsed and put on our budget priorities, different things for Bellevue
yeah, so.
and by you as well.
Well, the other thing I would say is the headline of what you just said was if city officials are using the space, they should pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean, but yes, it's a multi-use space.
Yeah.
And it deserves upgrades.
So any questions for Karen or anything Karen, you want to add, or?
About 722,000 patients that go through Bellevue.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're trying to, with the same 4 chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and active heart disease. And so we're trying to initiate educational programs. But at that space now, someone will be speaking very earnestly and the
Suddenly,
idea will go out.
yeah.
This is just for the library, not for the whole hospital.
Correct.
Yeah, this is
The
just for that
library is-
space, yeah.
The library is more possible, there's a greater possibility to get funding for that than for
Yeah.
about $1 billion,
Yeah.
you know.
This is specifically for that space, old medical library space in building C and D, like very, very specific location.
Is it still on the table that,
You don't have to go through hospital security to get there. So it's a place where patients can go without having to stand online and get ID cards.
I was just wondering if it's still on the table that we might consider that as a space for our full board meetings? I know we've had that conversations in the past.
Bellevue is very willing to.
Kevin might be able to shed more light on that, because I think we asked.
Yeah, it is tech enabled, if I could pronounce that correctly, tech enabled, which is great. So for the community advisory board meetings, we do use the big screen, and Brendan, I would guess that you can marry whatever tech you have. That's always the concern. I don't know if you mentioned this, Rupal, if I may, I just wanted to point out that starting next week, Karen Moore is the new chair, the newly elected chair of the Community Advisory Board at Bellevue. So congratulations to Karen.
Congratulations. All right,
Yes, the goal is to upgrade the system so that the public can hold meetings there. It can be a space that the community can go in.
so, so if the upgrades do go through, it will make it, we will have another place to hold committee board meetings. My understanding is right now we cannot do it because of the AV system just not being reliable enough. So it keeps going out, it keeps dying or like disconnecting. So because of all those problems, we can't hold public meetings, like full board meetings. But if this upgrade were to go through, it may be a possibility for us to have board meetings there as well. Is that correct, Brendan and Karen and Kevin?
Yeah, it is. I don't think it's that heavy a lift. You know, it's not $500,000 to get it fixed. So I think it should be doable. And what's great is it's a big space, so you can certainly do a full board meeting there, even if you do have a number of public speakers.
Yeah.
And I also think it's more convenient as a location.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a little bit more convenient than where we currently have it, though like where we currently have it, it's easier for me, but for the whole board, I think Bellevue might be a more central location, so.
The community.
Yeah, and the community, yeah. So.
If I could throw one more thing in there, just if I heard NYU, I think I know Karen will concur if we're talking about finding funding. Bellevue, the public hospital certainly should be in line before NYU.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree.
Okay.
So for this budget request, any questions, comments?
We're all on board?
Are we all on board?
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I would say high priority for all of that. All right. What's the last one? District level data on elder abuse. So, yeah, LV. Any information you can add on this? Like, what are we looking for? Like, what is it? What are we asking for? And also, like, is there a specific agency? Like, because this is another request that's been on there for a while,
Yeah.
right? So, is the data already there, or are we asking a city agency to collect the data?
I think we tried in the past to get data from the Department of Aging, but we were not successful.
Okay,
What about the NYPD? Don't they have data on this?
Only assault.
only assault.
I see,
Okay.
I see.
Okay. All right,
So I would think that the Department of Aging should just be able to
To
give
me,
it,
they should
give
be
us the
able to
information
do.
pretty easily.
Or at least organizations, because I'm coming from the nonprofit, I would bet you that there are certain organizations that do have that critical data, but it's piecemeal, it's not
I think they
standardized.
may have data about the entire New York City.
Or not for
within-
others.
Not within the district, right,
not
yes.
within the district.
Right.
So then we would need to break it down for our district. So how do we go about doing that? Is it a budget request, or is it something that we get the data and then, like, I don't know how, like, we parse it ourselves, or is it one of those, how does that?
You
Yeah,
might be able to get the data from the Independent Budget Office.
okay,
They do, they do analysis for agencies and groups around the city about anything in and about the city,
mhm,
not just the dollar amounts of the
Right.
budget.
mhm,
The board office can just ask them to do the analysis.
okay,
It has to be formally requested, because if they have data in there, they have to sort out which is from this district. So
Okay.
that is an additional work for them. So
okay.
it has to be formally requested.
So,
Having on the, having.
what kind of a budget request is it? That have we
Yes.
asked him then to, that they should infuse money into that department so they can release
Well,
this
the-
data?
They have their own budget and they do the various, analyses of different things. And if you go on the website, actually, they just sent me a list of all of all their analyses for the last 6 months, and, you know, it's quite lengthy and about many different things. It's just another asking.
Yeah, I just think say, elder abuse is really common and really underreported.
Yes.
So even if we got data and it said it was very low, that would be wrong, it was just underreported.
Yeah.
And if we got data that said it was high, we would say, oh yeah, okay, it's high. So what's kind of the end goal
Yeah.
of this?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly what I was
where are we
thinking.
going? And then once we have that information, like I'm just confused what we're
Yeah,
trying to
what are we
do.
gonna do with it? Yeah, that
Yeah.
was, yeah, same.
To me, I would think that if, God forbid, it is high, which all of us suspect it is, right? We know that a lot of senior centers, whatnot, home care facilities have this issue. That I feel that the actionable item would be that if we know that it is high, we will demand various city enforcement agencies that they need to either have incremental programming to better supervise this and also have some kind of penalty or some kind of a outcome for that kind of if there's someone perpetrated that kind of a crime, there should be proper reporting about how they were attended to. But I would think that would have to include city enforcement agencies to ensure that there are ramifications for someone who's committing elder abuse.
I guess if the goal is enforcement, maybe we could bring in NYPD
Yeah.
to discuss what they're already doing.
I think so.
And if,
Makes
if we
sense.
think it should be more or that's adequate.
Certainly getting the data though is a good starting.
Right, so we need the data
Yeah.
first. So to get the data, so like, to go back to something you said, sorry, Brent, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I was made aware of this through like non-CV6 circles, a few weeks ago, but, apparently, there is like a state of older New Yorkers that the State Department for the Aging releases, which has some citywide data
Hmm.
on a number of things for older persons, including elder abuse. So another, like, sorry to muddy the waters a little bit further, but another question for the committee is, what's the value, like, for us as a committee in getting, like, district data versus city data? Like, do we
Mhm. Yeah.
expect the data to be that much different
I don't
in
think
our district versus elsewhere in the city?
I don't think there's a way to confirm that, right?
Yeah.
This is a demographic data, so only actual data will tell us, is it fairly uniform across districts? Or is it unique? But I do think you've put in some actionable item there in the last line, the one we're seeking additional data. And
So-
something should be done to safeguard this vulnerable population.
So to
Well,
get the
because
data, do we need, so Marty, to go back to what you said earlier, to get the data from all of these agencies? You said that office can just request that data, right? So if office is requesting the data and while we figure it out, what is the budget request at this point? Like if we're still waiting for the data, if we don't have the data, what is this budget request? I guess that's where I'm unsure of.
To pay whatever agency to come up with it.
So they don't have the data collected then, or?
Well, they do, but they have.
But
given-
that's the clarifying thing.
Yeah,
that
so
it
that's
doesn't
where
need
I
to
guess
be
I'm a
paid for
little
before it exists.
unsure of,
That's
like,
the
so
thing.
are we paying them for the data? Are we paying them to collect the data? Are we just asking them to give us the data? Like,
I think what Bharat was saying, I think it's like a two-step thing, right? We
Yeah.
first need the agencies to come and present the data.
right,
So if they don't have enough resources, maybe part of the budget request is, if you don't have the data, then you need to bolster your resources to get that data, because it's imperative to have that data. The other one is, if they have the data, then to call the enforcement agencies and see what is being done and what can be done incrementally.
so then that's the thing, right? Like, we don't know which one it is. So then
Yeah.
what is this budget request? Like, where does this stand in that two-step process? Does that make
No,
sense?
I think what you're saying is absolutely clear. You're
Yeah.
right.
There has to
Somebody
be
has to know
data
history.
on elder abuse.
Exactly, there has to
Data on
be,
everything. There
Yeah.
has to be.
there has to be.
We
This
need
data
to know
exists.
if we have access to that, and what does it look like? Is it
Yeah.
by zip code? I don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know what the data.
Yeah,
looks
because we
like.
don't have it,
We
yeah.
don't
So
have it.
first step is getting the data. Yeah,
And number two, once we see that, even, and there is always some breakdown of data. You're not gonna get an entire
yeah,
Manhattan of data.
yeah.
They have to have
Yeah.
areas, so
Yeah.
we don't know what that is.
But, and it could be, like you
So
said, by zip
then-
code, right?
We see that across the board, it's looking similar
Yeah,
and bad, which we're assuming it
Yeah.
is, but we don't know for sure with that. I don't like to say that out loud.
Yeah.
Then the question is, then we would wanna bring in and people who. enforce the
exactly,
law.
agencies
What's
and
going
people
on?
who
Is that
know
gonna
what's
be-
going on to.
So to me,
yeah.
it's not really a budget request at this
I
point.
think
That's-
that's shelve it to next year.
Yeah.
Like after more
Like,
review.
it's something we need to work on, maybe a project.
Yeah, so I think we need to
Not-
first
That's
collect the
fine.
data before we turn it into a budget request. I think that's where,
I mean, those who have history might be. able to
yeah,
tell
so
us
that's why
right
I'm
even
looking
there.
for Marty or Elvie or Brandon.
Yeah, so if this is something that the committee believes will cost the city money, then I would think that it would be a budget request, but if it doesn't cost any money, like if it doesn't cost any budget, then it doesn't seem like a budget request.
Breaking out for our community board probably would cost something.
Unless the data is in zip codes. And that's what we don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking right now at a huge, I'm looking at a huge report, older adults in New
Yeah.
York City, demographic and service trends done by the New York State Controller. And this is multiple pages of
Oh, yeah.
multiple things.
Yeah,
You know, so
so,
But if we don't know yet.
yeah, if we don't know yet, then
Yeah,
it
then
doesn't
it's
make
for
sense
the committee.
for it to be a budget request at this point.
For the
Right.
next fiscal year, I do not think so.
Yeah.
I think there's too many
I
unanswered
think we
questions.
should have to
Exactly.
keep this on our radar.
Because if we can
Not that
get,
it isn't important.
yeah,
it's
but I think
just-
we need to
this
figure.
is not the first step. you know?
Yeah, I feel like the first step is collecting the data, and to collect the data, we have to figure out where to
See what
look.
it looks like.
Once we figure that out, what agency it is,
Look,
yeah, so we just have to reach out to the agencies, have Office, Brendan and everybody help to get us the data, and then from there, we can figure out what budget request it is.
Yeah, and like, given that report I mentioned earlier, like, we already know that the city has, like, the Department of the Aging has citywide data, so I can say to DIFTA, hey, I know you have citywide data on elder abuse, do you have
By
like
district.
breakdowns by community district or?
Or
at least
zip
by
codes,
code,
yeah.
Or by neighborhood even, you know,
Yeah.
some- something that gives us something to
To work with, yeah.
So that we have a better sense of.
Yeah,
So the question is, do we remove this or do we just put
Yeah.
it low
They
priority?
said the budget, because I think we shouldn't remove it from what we wanna do here, and we need to follow up.
yeah, so,
There's no reason ever to remove something.
It's hard to put
because
it back
There are
on.
too many of them.
okay,
Because, we are allowed. It used to be 25 capital and 40 expense, or
Right.
the other way around,
Yeah.
and we never ultimately have that many.
okay,
Okay, so we should just
So-
leave it then, just make it low priority.
Parks generally has the most.
Yeah.
You know, we've had fewer than most of the
Yeah.
other committees.
Yeah.
Keep it.
all right, so we can keep it, I feel like we can just not make it high priority
Sure.
at this point.
Yes, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, so,
And then obviously, if we find that such data exists, then
then we
I
can
guess, yeah.
edit it and modify it to be more specific and narrow of our ask.
yes.
Perfect.
Just take the contrary view that it's not really needed because everybody knows that this is very common. And we're just gonna get data saying, oh, it's common, or we're gonna get data saying it's not common, in which case we know the data is wrong. So like, it's not gonna change what we do, it's just spending money on something we already know. So it's just a contrarian view, but, my.
I think it's logical, I
I don't think it's contrarian, I feel, yeah, cause I started, I was in the same boat as you when I started off, I'm like, obviously it exists, obviously it's bad, obviously it's there.
Yeah, there was something, it's just that
Yeah.
I cannot remember
Yeah.
why we put that there, but there was
I feel
something.
some enforcement issue to me is the big issue.
Yeah,
That
so-
this problem exists, maybe big or small,
Yeah,
but regardless, even if it's small, it's just a very, it's again, a very vulnerable population in
Yeah.
our city, and we need to
So-
attend to them.
yeah, so I think if there's a budget request, should be focused more on funding the agencies that can
Take action.
Take action,
Right.
yeah.
I agree.
I feel like that's where if we were to make a funding request, it should be more along those lines.
Great.
And unless we know what enforcement there is,
Yeah.
we don't know what to ask.
Right.
Yeah,
So I agree with you,
No,
we
I
leave
think
it there, but we
that-
just,
yeah.
maybe we do the work in
Yeah,
this
so we
year.
start by collecting the data and then see where it leads us.
Maybe we could bring in NYPD.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think we need to start the
Yeah.
code enforcement
Yeah.
agency.
See what they have to say.
Yeah.
I also think the mayor's office has something to
Department of
call
Aging.
them and find out, because I thought
And
they
there's the
mentioned.
Department of Aging as well,
Right.
I'm sure they will have information and data as well, so we can start by inviting folks from that.
You have in the we have the information in the contact, that's why when Brandon
Good,
kept rolling through it,
Yeah.
I'm like, wait. We have responses from previous years.
Well,
The one at the lower end, fiscal 20, it really, there is no additional funding available
I
to increase
see.
program budgets, commence new initiatives, the new initiatives piece.
Yeah.
That's the,
So you
that's
have a
the
budget
response
request
to what
right
is
there,
the
Rupa.
data answer,
Mhm.
is what initiatives are not being enacted on to, whether it's enforcement or whatever, that's the. I think you're onto something of like, we need to understand what the purpose of the budget request with the data is going to
Mhm.
serve,
Yeah,
not just awareness.
yeah,
So I think that
Yeah, when
kinda
you're
is an
scrolling,
answer of like what new initiatives need to be, or enforcement or whatever it is. Once the data, if that is where we're headed with this request. I just want us to like think a little bit more beyond. of, like,
yeah.
I totally agree.
More
John's
holistic
Yeah,
question.
because the
Yeah,
third
yeah,
paragraph
so
is
yeah,
asking for
because
very
that's
specific
the
budget.
reason why
requests.
Appreciate that.
They want to increase existence, so I think we do have actionable items there, we just have to read it more clearly, but.
It's okay, it's all.
I think I agree with him, I
So
think we need some
you're
enforcement
really
agencies to tell us how severe this is.
Yeah.
On
So
the
we
list
can
regarding-
maybe raise the priority, and maybe in the meanwhile, LV will remember. what
Yeah.
triggered
The
it.
only time to take something off the list, if it was actually done.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then, we can just change the priority to Yeah, lower priority.
Just to understand.
Well, the request is, again, it's money to get for the information. Again,
Data that the
city
city should have
council,
anyway.
the city council people, the
Okay.
borough president, et cetera, they all look at these lists and they say, well, that seems interesting. I'll put
So
money
an
towards
idea.
that.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
To keep the idea in front of them.
absolutely.
Okay,
I get- I
all right, I
understand
get it,
that.
okay.
But here they're
I
actually
understand
saying
that.
Yeah.
increase funding for all
I get
senior
it. I get it.
programs.
Yeah.
And I'm sure other boroughs, other community boards are saying the same, and
Something
when they
similar,
bundle the same,
yeah,
that becomes a priority then.
yeah,
By the way, we used to
That was
meet
what I
at
was
the end.
Yeah, because I know
and-
Gail Brewer is often talking about it big time,
yeah.
and now she represents the west side. There's a lot of different.
All right. So, going back to the budget request, so to Marty's point, let's keep it.
We finished?
Almost, but you're good because we finished the Bellevue. No, I think you're good. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Okay. So with regards to this, I think to Marty's point, let's keep it on there, but let's just change the priority level for now.
Just put it on the bottom, keep them on, keep it on.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
put it at a
Whatever.
lower priority.
We
All right.
Get information.
So then for these impact community support and feasibility, I guess.
We'll put it
I
at
don't even know.
Medium?
low, medium,
What are the options?
yeah,
Put it
low,
low
medium
because
and high, I
Medium
think.
and high.
I would
Yeah.
just make it medium because
Yeah,
I
put
think we
it
should
on a
forget about the
medium.
seniors.
Yeah, just
Okay.
medium.
Medium,
Yeah.
all right. So does that, and I think that takes care of all the budget requests, right?
And it's an expense item, so, expense items are, well, it used to be 50, under 5 years or 50,000. I think that's up to 75,000. Again, it's just for single shot things.
Okay, all right. All right, so next is a chair's report. I just have a really quick one. Tomorrow, Jesus, Gloria, and I are gonna tour Bellevue with Sage Robinson, Public Affairs at Bellevue, and Karen Moore, who was just here, who is the new chair of the Bellevue CAB. The tour is gonna focus on hospital history, ambulatory care, emergency department, and intensive care unit. And like I said earlier, with the cuts to healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid, our goal should be to advocate for public hospitals, health and hospitals, safety net hospitals like Bellevue. So I'm hoping that the tour tomorrow between the three of us will help kind of have a connection with the community board and the hospital together so we can work together and advocate for that. So, and that is the chair's report. All right, any old or new business?
I guess the only question I have for old businesses I'm new is with the budget, because I don't know how those things exist on that listing. So is that the things in the budget each fiscal year, they come organically or from resolutions that are, like, I just don't know. I'm curious how.
Brendan can answer that.
Yeah, so, each committee is supposed to talk through both its already existing budget requests as well as whether it wants to add any new budget requests to align with the priorities of the committee and the community as a whole.
Right, but it's that adding new things.
Yeah,
Is
add-
more of what I'm asking. It's like, how does that happen?
Yeah, so how that happens, honestly, it's at committee level. The committee, like, members of the committee suggest a new request. The request is worked on by whoever proposed the request or the committee chair.
Are they
And
prompted by a resolution? Cause I'm trying to see like connective tissue of like things that we work on very vigilantly here.
Yeah.
On a regular basis, and then that's,
Yeah,
or
so,
it's ideas, like you said.
yeah, it's generally ideas.
Okay.
It's generally ideas. And then the following committee meeting, the committee discusses the request that was drafted and then votes on it as a committee. So it's really like a 2-month process usually. And it's typically separate from resolutions. In fact, all the budget requests will be its own resolution
Mm.
next month. Because every October 31st, each community board throughout the city is supposed to submit all of its budget requests to the city. Therefore, at our October full board meeting, all of our capital requests, all of our expense requests, all of our continued support items will be voted on at the full board meeting next month.
So after what, this will then, now all of our requests will go to the Budget and Government Affairs Committee, where
Correct.
all the committees' requests go to that committee. And then they have a long list of everything from CB6, am I right?
Right.
And then that then goes to October full board where the whole board votes on it.
And then it goes to the borough president, and at the borough board meeting, where all the board chairs of the 12 boards meet, and is the electeds from the borough are there. And sometimes it's the borough president, sometimes their assistant, goes through the lists and says, well, you know, as far as the Department of Aging, we have these items that have been listed, you know, from 3 community boards. And so, you know, let's think about that. Or the Parks Department, you know, 6 of the community boards want caterpillars or, you know, more enforcement or whatever. And so things kind of all meld together there. And when there's a bigger push for a kind of thing from more of the boards, then the borough president says, you know, I'm gonna get behind that. Or, you know, like, you know, once upon a time, rats was everywhere. And
Yes,
so
my
we
goodness.
had a rat, when I was a chair, we had a rat czar. You know, it was a city council from Harlem, I forgot who it was.
I mean, it's a crime.
He was the rat czar, and it really didn't work at that point, and now we got a new rat czar. Though it seems that the number of rats have decreased.
Yeah.
You know, the latest,
The new technology.
the CO2 into the ground in parks seems to have been working. You know, it all depends upon the year and how the borough president sees it.
But requests come from, like, the AV came from Bellevue.
Bellevue,
They
yeah,
asked us.
like
It was a
Karen Moore
request.
and Sage Robinson reached out to me saying, hey, can you help us with this budget
And you
request? So
get
then I
that
worked on
this.
it.
The
I appreciate it.
libraries come to us and say, we need more computers, or, you know,
Yeah.
different, police department comes to us, or the FDNY, in the, let's see, the one on 51st Street, they had come to us because the AC in the, facility was not pulling out the carbon monoxide from the
Oh, my
trucks
goodness.
well enough. So, yeah, we get all these kinds of inputs. In September, there's the district needs. The district needs, do they still meet?
Yeah.
Okay. The
In a
district,
month.
yeah, okay. In September, so the police, the sanitation, they all meet with the community board. And they'll say, well, we could use this, or we could use that, and that then comes back to the committees to be put back onto the list of what's desired. And then the Budget and Legislative Committee looks at what all the different committees do, and they kind of put it in some sort of order. It's a good idea for a committee chair to be at that meeting, so as to push for, you know, like when I was chair of that committee, there was one year, nobody showed up, nobody was on the committee, I just did it all myself. I figured, yeah, we'll do this one, we'll do that one. And well, also, earlier on, probably, well, I've been on since 91, up until maybe 95. Yeah, I've been on since 91, but I came for a few years before that, since I was the president of the Phipps Plaza West Tennis Association. But anyway, we used to, at the October meeting, go through every single line of the capital and the expense and vote on every single line. This should be higher, this should be lower. When I became chair of the budget and legislative, we said, no, we're not doing it that. It's up and down for the whole thing. You know, and since then we stopped, because those meetings went on for 2 days. We used to meet on the second Wednesday, and then we'd come back for the third Wednesday to finish it up. And
Yeah.
it was not worth it.
All right, so any other old or new business? All righty.
Just like history was.
Can I get a motion for adjourn?
Motion.
So.
Second, all right, meeting adjourned
you.
at 7:56 PM. That's a record. All right.
Yes.